Spreydon-Cashmere Community Board. Kia ora, welcome.
Ate Marie. I'd first like to, like other boards, to thank Arahanui Grace for the years that she has spent with us, which have been luxurious compared to some other boards, I would imagine. No, we've been very, very grateful for Arahanui Grace and her presence in our board and her governance skills. We were a little bit fractious as a board when we first met Arahanui, and she introduced us to each other and to a process, and we are now a board that is extremely united and enjoys one another's company, and a lot of that is down to Grace's skills. We're very grateful to her for all the things that she has brought to the board. Our board always has a waiata and a karakia before and after the meetings, and we and her replacement, Chris, who we look forward to welcoming, has been told that he has to do a waiata and a karakia, and he is sweating as we speak.
Insane.
We wish Grace well in her work with the new boards with the new board and wards that she is going to, and we will miss her. She has been made a wonderful contribution to our area. Thank you, Grace. And before we start too, I wanted to briefly mention we had a presentation. Our board was asked to look very urgently at an issue. The members of the community asked us to look very urgently at a traffic issue, and we asked our traffic people if they could bring to us something that would help us make a rational decision. And they came back to our board with a list of the issues that they thought that needed attention in our ward, and it turned out that the issue that was before us was 18th in the order of priorities in terms of safety and or amenity. This was so helpful, and I want to thank John Dorr and Steve Wright for the work that they did. It made our decision-making much more rational, and it contributed to a really interesting discussion about the traffic and safety issues in our ward. And that kind of work from staff is our board is extremely grateful for. Then moving on, Lincoln Road. We have anticipated this for 15 years. Some board members have been elected on the issue of Lincoln Road. In other words, they made commitments at meetings before they were elected about what they thought should happen in Lincoln Road and what they thought shouldn't. It is an extremely important issue for our ward. It has been on the books for a long time, and the issue is to get the people from Horswell and their environs into town to work and play. And it means that they have to go through one of our oldest suburbs. This is extraordinarily difficult for us, for the people of Addington, and for the people who wish to travel by bus and other public transport into town. It's not an easy issue. We hope that the consultation goes fairly and squarely. We hope that the people contribute to the discussion and the debate. We board members will come to it with an open mind, despite our conversations of the past. But we hope, and we do hope, to get through this without too much acrimony, and certainly we'd like to get through it without divisions between the suburbs in our area. We will report back on it. On the this is just very few people who put a little box outside of food outside the fence one day in Stanbury Ave, and said that people could bring food and contribute food, and we gave them a little bit of money from our off-the-ground fund to have a party to introduce themselves to the neighbourhood. This is happening around our ward. We've got an urban farm in Addington where neighbours have got together with land out the back of their houses, and they're developing a food farm out the back there. there are people in our ward who are starting to think about food and what we do with it, how we grow it, how we share it. And it's such a wonderful thing. And while I mention this, Paper Plus had renovations recently in Barrington Mall, and they put a little box outside in the shape of a home outside the shop in the mall environs, which has got books in it for exchange and to take away and to exchange. And that's such a touching thing for a commercial operation, a bookshop, to do. How are we going?
Age friendly. So in July, we've talked about this before, the Spreydon-Cashmere board launched an age friendly initiative, and it's a steering group comprising elected members. There's Lee and Helene on there, a number of community representatives and staff. And in their one of their latest meetings, have now formed some subgroups, which is sort of the latest development, all looking at different things, such as social isolation, participation, connection. Another group looking at transport, another one inclusiveness, and the last one health and wellbeing. So it's going along really well, and we look forward to hearing more feedback from how they're going. Yep.
Just keep going because there's no pictures for them.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll come back to that. Edible Garden Awards. We had our first one last year, and Wendy's got everything all printed and ready to go, so we're launching the next one for next year. And it was, as we talked about before, really successful, and very proud of how it went, and also the special categories as well for things like sustainability, highest yield of produce, use of rainwater. There's another one, I can't remember, probably organics. So we're very happy with that. So that's basically people can nominate people now.
Okay, back to...
In our ward in Hoonhay Park, there's been a Lean Mean Queen 6-week challenge, and this was basically a bunch of the mothers of the sons who had got together to put in the lights at Hoonhay basketball court. So they've all got to know each other, and now they're all getting into fitness. And I think it was a 6-week course, and it's finished now, but they're going to move on to having another challenge starting this month. So that was a really successful thing. It was a very quiet thing. We didn't go along or anything like that, but we're very pleased to hear that kind of thing is happening in our area. Is that all the...
yeah. We've got the Pacifica Celebration Extravaganza coming up with the Hoonhay Fiesta combined with the Pacific Series 2018 Rugby League competition. This started last year in our ward, and we invited rugby league players from all over Christchurch to come and join us in association with the Hoonhay Fiesta. And it's becoming a real celebration that we look forward to continuing, and hope continues to be based in our ward, of rugby league associated with the next door fiesta on the park in Hoonhay. And one of the other things that are associated with it is that several schools in our area who find the cultural celebration in the town hall, that used to be in the town hall, too expensive, the school's cultural celebration too expensive, have joined together in our ward and are celebrating on our stage at the Fiesta, Hoonhay Fiesta, on November the 15th. So much for me knowing dates. But we really look forward to this. The rugby league's going to be all weekend, and the Fiesta's going to be huge. It has been growing in the last few years, and we look forward to it. It's the night before, I know what it is, it's the night before show weekend. Yeah. I managed to know that. We had community board monitoring. This is a constant process that Grace has initiated, where we monitor our progress against our community plan. I just wanted to mention that because it's so useful to be able to look down and look at what's happened in our community, the initiatives that we've taken, the things that we've supported, and then look at our community plan and see how we're progressing against it. I just wanted to mention that it sounds too boring and too process driven, but it's very satisfying to see the changes and the progress that we have made.
We've got Christchurch South Toy Library as well in our area. We've got 2 toy libraries, and they were at Spreydon School, and then sort of lost their space once the school shifted to the old Manning site. They've temporarily been in Addington, and now they thought they might have that long term, but they don't. So now they've moved for probably a year to 18 months to the Summerfield Community Centre is hosting them, but they've had to sell off a whole lot of their gear. So that's one of the groups that we're looking at supporting in terms of community space. It's probably Carolyn's
it's not.
phone.
It's Carolyn. The Cashmere Carnival was held last weekend on the village green, next door to the Presbyterian Church. This was young people at the Presbyterian Church who for the first time held the Cashmere Carnival, and it was a board project as well. So we were really, and board supported project. That was when we took the money out of the Barrington Big Fun Day and decided to give it to smaller community groups to see them celebrate their communities and their areas. And this was part of that, up on the village green on Dyers Pass Road. And one of the last things I want to mention is Paul Devlin came to the board to talk about the closure of a bike track, which is now starting to cause ecological damage to the area that it's in, and the redesign of the end of that bike track to another part of Bowen Vale, some restoration of walking areas, and then he says the Bowen Vale bike track is at its limit, and we won't be doing any more there in the future other than to protect what we've got. Rapaki, for instance, now, which is also in our ward, of course, now takes 250,000 people a year. And we can't keep on doing that to the Port Hills. Having said that, Paul Devlin is a wonderful park ranger and leads a great team who keep a great eye on the issues and areas in our ward, and links very closely with the Summit Hills Society and the Port Hills Trust Board and their areas. And we've got another trapping seminar being held in Ernley Terrace this Saturday to train another group of people on the trapping of predators to maintain the impetus on predator-free. Is that it? Thank you. That's it.
Very good. Look, thank you very much, and it's just great to see all of the work that's being done in the area, and so much of it self-generated from within the community.
Yeah.
So it's really great.
But also great work from staff too.
Yep. So could I have a mover and a seconder for this one? Tim and Phil. I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And it is 10